Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba Explains Sikhism. Sikhism is a synthesis of real life and it has certain apparent contradictory terminology and the juxtaposition of those terms which are seemingly contradictory lend a certain mystique to the religion. But if you delve deep into the reality of matters, you would find a definite real connectivity. Can you imagine any religion talking of saint soldier, a spiritual person fighting a war? It has rarely happened. It has happened, but rarely. And here it was a part of life. Guru Chela, the teacher or the leader becomes a servant, and that happened in real life. And so is this juxtaposition of Miri and Piri, the temporal and the spiritual. The concept of Miri-Piri was highlighted by the sixth Guru, Guru Hargobind, when he was throned and crowned as a leader. It was the 11th of June 1606, and since that day, this day is celebrated as a Miri-Piri Day. As the Guruship ceremony was starting, the Guru asked for two kirpans to be donned on him. Earlier, the kirpans were never donned. There used to be Celia topi, but now the kirpan was donned, and he said that these two kirpans symbolize the concept of Miri, that's a temporal authority, and the second sword represents the concept of Piri, the spiritual authority. So this wearing of two swords was an absolute revolutionary break with the past. And all those just praying and exhorting and persuasion was there, but there was an added feature that was war. The earlier system, as I said, was that only the Salitopi, the spiritual power, was worn by the preceding gurus. Now, what do those words mean? We say spiritual and temporal. The word Miri is basically derived from Arabic word Amir. The word Amir, which is, we are aware, is used very often, means the ruler and means commander, governor, lord, prince, chieftain, and signifies the temporal power and the material power. Even in the common parlance, Amir is wealthy. Now, the concept of Miri signifies worldly, materialistic, political power. And the concept is linked to the traditional power enjoyed by the kings and the rulers, from the might of the military results in the past, and their ability to influence and rule the people. And then the second one, as we said, is Piri. Now, Piri again comes from the Persian word Pir. Pir means saint, holy man, spiritual, guide, senior, head of a religious order, and stands for the spiritual authority. The concept of Piri is linked to the power enjoyed by the religious leaders, church priests, qazis, pandits, to have the power or influence over the devotees in the way of spiritual power. And the word Miri and Piri are now frequently used together to give the concept promoted by the sixth Guru. Now, this makes Sikhism much different than the other religions. In every religion, we say the separation of politics from religion. And in Sikhism, that's not possible. As I said earlier, Sikhism, politics, or the rule, is a part of the Sikh legacy, the Sikh culture. And if you go to Akal Takht, the highest spiritual seat of Sikhism, you would find two flags, Nishan Sahibs. They represent Miri and Piri. When you combine Miri and Piri, you automatically combine spiritualism with the material power. Now this has various connotations. The connotation is that if you are purely spiritual and ascetic, you are running away from the world. And Sikhism says, be immersed in the world. Basically, it's a concept of the lotus flower. You are the mud, and yet you are out of the mud. So, you cannot divorce normal everyday life from the spiritual life. But your materialistic life must be imbued with the spiritual powers. And if the spirituality is not a part of your materialistic world, then you become greedy, you become possessive, you could become exploitative. So every action, even in ruling or in materialistic world, has to be guided by the spiritual concept. And that is the concept Guru wanted to promote. This is pure symbolism, but it connotes values that are dear and near to the people at all levels. It's a basic principle which has influenced the thought of the Sikhs and Sikhism and has governed their social structure, political behavior, communal organization, leadership and politics. Whenever Sikhs started an agitation, they started from a Gurdwara. Right or wrong, I'm not going into that. But Gurdwaras have been the base of all political action by the Sikhs, because in Sikhism, politics is a part of the religion. You cannot divorce the two. Now, the secularists of the modern age might say, no, this is not possible. This is not desirable. But what's desirable is the religious sanction of mingling the politics and religion is there. And it has been there since 1606. If you look at the reality of the situation, you would find that there's a logic in that. At that time, the Sikhs were facing onslaught on two levels. They had been outlawed, the Gurus were imprisoned, even when they were non-violent and peaceful, they were being killed. Guru Arjan Dev, the father of Guru Hargobind, was made to sit on the burning fire. He was put in the boiling water. Burning hot sand was poured on him. So that sort of thing being there, they had to combine. And then what better way of meeting when you meet the Gurdwara? And another thing you might see, the Sikhs have to pay regard to both the spiritual needs, as I said. Langar, for example, which I discussed, is an important part of the Miri concept. It provides the materialistic needs of the community. The right to follow your chosen religion is a concept safeguarded by Guru Tegh Bahadur. And that's a respect of the Piri tradition. So as a Pir, they protect, as a Mir, they fight. So did Guru Hargobind fight the Mughal forces and defeated them. So did Guru Tegh Bahadur, the apostle of peace, who sacrificed his life for the principle, also fought in Assam, where he was then decorated by Aurangzeb himself and given the title of Tegh Bahadur. And of course, Guru Gobind Singh fought all the time. So, You see, there was a person called Baba Buddha. He was contemporary of Guru Nanak. And he was the person who basically conducted the ceremony of a guru, new guru being performed, the spiritual initiation as a guru. Not only that, he was the first priest of the Golden Temple. So he writes, Macauliffe in his book on Sikhism writes, it's true. The interpersonal, interrelationship, and with the blessing of the God, that Guru's house, religion, and worldly enjoyment shall be combined. So even the Westerns, not that I hold that the Westerns, what they say is the gospel truth, but critical people, whether they belong to East or West, have accepted this. The religion is a cauldron to supply the poor and the needy, and the sword is needed to kill the oppressor. So both are used. On the one side, you give alarms, you give langar, you give food, you give hospital, medicine, give all the help. On the other side, if some oppressor comes, you fight. This concept of Miri-Piri brought about a revolutionary change. And when Guru with this is the concept of Deg, Teg, Fateh. Deg is the food, Teg is the sword. So Guru Nanak even, when the langar was started, talked of Deg, Teg. And this Deg, Teg, which I am going to take up another time, is a part of the Sikh prayer, Sikh Ardas. And is recited the line Deg, Teg, Fateh, Bird ki Paj, Panth ki Jeet. The religion will be successful. The spiritual power, there's a Deg, and Teg, the temporal power, they will be victorious. Now this thing, when you talk of that, and then if you look at Guru Gobind Singh's writing 24 Avatar, which is a part of Dasam Gram, Guru Gobind Singh, Deg, Teg, Jag Mehe, Do Chale. That both the kitchen and the sword shall rule the world, shall prevail in the world. So basically, the concept of Miri-Piri gave reinforcement to the concept of Deg, Teg, Fateh, which was prevalent all the time, but it concretized it. And that concretization of the concept made Sikhism a separate religion. Millions of the religious leaders in India had failed to halt the invaders when they heard of the Emperor's invasion. The Muslims had come and destroyed the temples, and Hindus were all the time saying Shiva would open. Sarnath temple, the beautiful temple, was invaded 17 times. And the Hindus were always saying that Shiva was opened his third eye and destroyed them, and he never opened his third eye. So Sikh religion then thought that this is time to take up the sword. And that's what Guru Gobind Singh writes in Zafarnama. Chukar azil te hamamast. When everything else fails, pick up the sword and fight. And koi mukaddas na hua, anda kine na kharcha laya. That all these people are blind and they will not open their eyes till they are faced by the sword, the power. So Guru Har Gobind, look at the person who gave the concept of Miri-Piri. He was just 11 years old when his father was killed mercilessly. And the sort of the killing that was there is horrific, uncivilized. So it prompted young Guru Har Gobind to refocus on the role of the Sikh Gurus. And he discerned sagely that Sikhs had to fight for survival Otherwise, they'll be devoured by the mighty Mughals, who were tyrannically converting dominant Hindu society of India to Islam. So at his succession ceremony, at the age of 11, he said, okay, I am going to combine the spiritual authority which I inherit with the Sali Topi, with the soul. So bring me to soul. And this dual role of Miri-Piri was misconstrued, has been construed, but it was validated when Guru Gobind Singh fought 4 wars against the aggressive Muslim imperial forces. And these wars basically proved, now in the very simple terms, Miri-Piri means the royalty and the richness and the affluence. And Piri, spiritual personality, which can stand the impurity to the point of infinity. To be spiritual is not important. No, let's be very clear. To be religious is not important. To be important, to be good is not important. To be honest is not important. That's what the people have said. But until you're authentic and you realize that you've got to protect yourself, you call it selfishness. You call it, but this is an act of authenticity. What is important is that you reach a stage where nothing can face you, both materially and spiritually. And that's why you would see that the Sikhs, even when they attain the highest level, and you see the Sikhs being CEOs like MasterCard and others, and the big businessmen, they maintain their humility. They go to the Gurdwara, bow down, and you will see the richest Sikhs even dusting the shoes of the people. That's a spirituality. So, in the name of the God, you can feel that, okay, I have got the material wealth, but that wealth I'm a trustee to give back to the people. So, when Piri is used, quote unquote, to enhance the Miri. Now, this is a curious thing that you use your spiritual power to enhance the material power, and you use the material power to enhance the spiritual power. And that's why Guru Tegh Bahadur is called Miri-Piri ka Badshah, the king of Miri and Piri. Now look at the life. What had happened was that Guru Ramdas' son was Arjan, but he had an elder brother. And he wanted to be the Guru. But Ramdas told that no, you cannot be a Guru. So, this concept that look here, law of primogeniture is not applicable. You have to be spiritually advanced and you have got to be materially advanced, and you have to consider the material. Life is a power. Now when Guru Har Gobind became Miri-Piri ka Badshah, he was very clear that adjectives have no meaning. What is meaning is the reality of life. Without materialism, you cannot live. You don't want to be a beggar. You don't want to be a hanger on a society. Because if you are poor, you are always looking to the affluent for help. No. Necessities of life, comforts of life are your right. And at the same time, you are not to be greedy. As I said, you have to be a trustee. That is Miri, real Miri. And then Piri is the spiritual power. If your material wealth and material power is tempered by spirituality, that is the ideal condition. So the Sikh concept of Miri-Piri is never changing and is rooted in the reality of life. So apparently contradictory, it's in fact the synthesis of life, what life should be. And it's an important aspect of sacred religion that you do not divorce real living from the spiritual living. You combine the two, and the synthesis is the ruling force, the doctrine that humanizes you as well as ensures that you lead a comfortable yet a spiritualistic life. Thank you.